Peace, 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 everybody. Peace. Give me 1 second here and I'll get started. All right. Put my headphones in. All right. All right. First, I want to say happy Kwanzaa. Happy Kwanzaa. And peace and Black African power. Welcome back to Mossi Warrior Clan YouTube channel. I am Njie Kofi Piesie. Majuba Iba Iye Gungun. Well, first I want to say ETM Hotep, Dua Duau, Dua Aku, Dua Necha, Fatmu Alafie, Fatmu Riri, Fatmu Iwa Pele, Majuba Iba Iye Gungun, Majuba Iba Iye Gungun, Majuba Iba Iye Lakba, Majuba Iba Iye Lakba. Majuba, first I want to stand honor and praises to the true and living elders according to African traditions and from an African world view. Again, like I said, happy Kwanzaa. Welcome back to Mossi Warrior Clan YouTube channel. It's been a while since I've been live from Mossi Warrior Clan. I'm glad to be back. Please like and share the show. I'm probably going to come back and start doing these regulars like morning bills where I'll be discussing various topics that's going on the motherland. Today we got a bill. I got a bill today on divide and conquer. So let's get into it again. Like and share the show. Peace to those that may be looking at this later in the archives. Peace to those that may be in the chat. Let me share my screen. Peace, Mongo Sled. Peace to my good sister, Julanda. Share. Let me scroll my screen. All right. Let me enlarge this right here. Let me go here. All right. Again, like I said, I'll probably be doing these on a regular, maybe every other Saturday. These morning bills, but today's morning bill is divide and conquer the Hutu and Tutsi. Real quick, I talked about the Hutus and the Tutsi brief, and this was supposed to come back during the week and elaborate and go in depth on the Hutus and the Tutsis. I did a presentation on Kofi Piesie research team called Carving Up Africa. I don't know, something Carving Up Africa. I had these long titles and I can't remember, but anyway, so I said I was going to come back and elaborate on this. So again, it's called Divide and Conquer the Hutus and the Tutsis. So let's get into the bill again. As I learned, we all learned the statement that I live by: we must not let our ancestors down, and we're definitely not doing that over here. So now, let's get into it. What really happened to Rwanda? And I got a few slides, and then I'm gonna stop from the slides, and then I'm gonna go into an article. I'm gonna read the article, and then we're gonna get some first-hand accounts. I'm gonna play a few videos, short videos, 2 or 3 minutes, by some people who first-hand accounts on the grounds that things happened in Rwanda. But what really happened to Rwanda? Rwanda's genocide was a systematic campaign by the Hutu ethnic majority aimed at wiping out each and every member of the minority Tutsi groups. The Hutus control governments and allied militias, slaughtering between 800,000 to 1 million Tutsis before the Tutsi rebel groups overthrew them. Over 100,000 Hutus was also killed, including both moderated Hutus killed by Hutus extremists and those killed by the Tutsis in the so-called revenge killing. So we're going to be talking about what happened, what led up to this genocide, and why people are not talking about what happened, what really happened between these two groups. Before the colonization, Rwanda was made up of social classes, the Tutsis 10 to 5%, the Hutus was over 80%, and the Twas was less than 1%. 1%. Now, real quick, I'm not sure about that, but a few things I have read is said that the Hutus have been in Rwanda longer than the Tutsis have been in Rwanda. And the Hutus, not the Hutus, but the Twa came a little bit later. But the Tutsi was the upper social class, were cattle breeders. The Hutus was farmers, and the Twas were low social class and were hunters. One became a Tutsi or the Hutus by marriage. For example, they all had the same language, same religion, and same culture. And yes, these people at one time were, y'all hold on one second, man. Baby, I'm live. I'm gonna have to call you back. I'm live. I'm gonna call you back. All right. So the Tutsis and the Hutus, let's just do real quick about the Tutsis and the Hutus. I believe that these people were one people. I believe that the Tutsis, as they say, the Tutsis was herders and the Hutus was farmers. We all know those who own cattle, or if you had cattle, then that means that you were wealthy. The more cattle that you had, the wealthier you was off. That was wealth, right? So, but I believe that the Hutus and the Tutsis was all one people, because again, as you begin to research these people and study their culture and traditions and their values, they all had the same culture, traditions, and values. They spoke the same language. They speak the same language. They have the same culture and the same tradition, and they all lived amongst each other in peace at one time. And certain events happened that led up to the Hutus definitely resenting and hating the Tutsis, and the Tutsis actually beginning to fight back. But also the Tutsis made a mistake in the beginning. Like I said, the Hutus were farmers and the Tutsis were herders. There were no different tribes of race groups in Rwanda. In fact, we can even talk about the Hutus and the Tutsi as an ethnic group, as they share some language and culture. This is why the current government says that there's no Hutus and no Tutsis, only Rwandans. There was some speculation that the words hundreds of years ago, Hutus and Tutsis, referred to our occupation. One group worked more in the field and the other looked after the cows, or the class difference. But there are definitely no tribes or race groups in Rwanda. Even the difference that the colonials' identity, thin and thick nose, is accurate. Let's talk or build on the real story about warring and genocide in Rwanda amongst the Tutsi. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen real quick because I want to go into this article, and then I'm gonna play a few videos from some firsthand account experience of people who actually lived in Rwanda and experienced this as children coming up this genocide, as they would speak. And I'll come back to the slides. But a lot of people, stuff that I read, a lot of people don't talk about actually the real history and what happened between these two groups of people. Again, as I would say, that these were one people. And the European came in, which we'll talk about what European power, and then the second European power, a power that followed behind them, because they played a hand in what happened in Rwanda, or what took place in 1954. Let me stop sharing my screen real quick. And let me do this. Stop sharing my screen. All right. Start sharing my screen so much. Well, shoot, I should have stayed on my screen. Let me go back. Let's go into this article, and then we'll play the videos that I'm going to play firsthand account videos of the people that actually experienced this. The videos are not that long. And then I'm going to play a following video afterwards of a Tutsi woman who actually stays in Texas right now, and she's going to validate some of the things that we read on this article and some of the other things that I detail And I talk about, hold on real quick. I don't know why I stopped sharing my screen. Let's go back to share screen. All right, share screen. Let's go to this article right here, and let me make sure my screen is showing. All right. Y'all let me know if my screen back showing. I got a delay here. All right. It says the genocide was a culmination of decades of divisions of incitements of hatred toward the Tutsis by extremists and the country leadership, which was controlled by members of the Hutus majority group. Deliberate process of positions of the Tutsi as a danger and the inferior minority group and even less than humans set the stage of the genocides that was to come. The colonial legacies division. Tensions have simmered in decades between the Hutus and the Tutsi population in Rwanda. The region had operated under Belgian control, ruled from after the First World War in 1962. But the Belgian was not the first people that actually colonized this area. The Germans was actually the first people who colonized this area in 1884. Last week I talked about the carving up of Africa caused many problems, right? So I talked about and I gave many examples of the many problems in Africa after the Berlin Conference. The Berlin Conference set off a chain of events that led to many problems in Africa. So we know that during the Belgian Conference in 1884, that these European powers, even the United States, came together in Germany, and they sat down and came up with a plan to carve up Africa. And each one of these European powers got specific geographical locations in Africa and set up these borders and push certain tribes that wasn't getting along with each other, push these tribes in these one border with these other tribes as they began to carve them up, correct? So the Germany went into the Germans went into Rwanda. Some other places they went into, but we're talking about Rwanda today. So when the Germans went into Rwanda, they needed some help by the local people that was there. And again, a while ago in one of the slides, I talked about the Tutsis who were herders, and I talk about the Hutus who were farmers, right? And I mentioned that those who had cattle, would be considered rich. You know what I'm saying? And the Germans wanted or needed local help once they began to colonize this area. So they began to strike a deal with the Tutsis. And the Tutsis, at the particular time, the king was one of the Tutsis. So the Germans struck a deal with the Tutsis. And I'll go a little bit further in there, but a little bit further about that later and more in detail, because after the Berlin Conference, again, in 1884, the Germans came in and the Germans began to colonize this area. So now they began to implement divide and conquer. So they wanted to do, so they set in motion to divide and conquer, which set off a chain of events because they began to treat the Tutsis better than they treated the Hutus. They actually treated the Hutus, who have been there forever, treated the Hutus like second-class citizens, and even treated the Hutus as lower as slaves. And the Tutsi people began to get all types of reap all types of benefits from the Germans who came in and colonized that area. So the Hutus began to build up some type of jealousy for the Tutsis, because the Tutsis was getting treated way better than the Hutus were getting treated. The Tutsi people were getting all types of special privileges, titles, entitlement to certain things, and the Hutus wasn't. So over the years, through this divide and conquer, through the Germans, it began to set up resentment. That resentment became hatred amongst these two people, who I say that I believe, this is just my hypothesis, and I will give them another one of my hypotheses. And remember, when we get to 1994, but right now we're talking about 1884, which after the Berlin Conference, the Germans came in, which they set in motion this divide and conquer amongst these people, two group of people, one who had a skill set in farming, and another who had a skill set in herding, who owned cattle, and began to divide these people up and treat one better than the other. And again, these two groups of people begins to start to fight and warring amongst one another due to the Germans with their techniques of divide and conquer. Also, before we get more into the article, that when these Germans came in, we even use today their standards of beauty, correct? Where we want to speak with proper King English. We want to, our women want to look more Europeanish, the standard of European beauty in general. So when these Europeans or these Germans came in, the Tutsis these Tutsis were taller. The Tutsis were taller than the Hutus. The Tutsi had thin noses. The Tutsi had thin lips. So, the Germans looked at that as their type of standards of beauty. And they looked at the Hutu differently because the Hutus were shorter, had broad nose, broad lips. And then even the Twa that was there that only made up 1%. It wasn't a lot of Twas in that area, but the Twas that were there, they considered those short Twas as ugly, not a standard of European beauty. So this is one of the, some say that this was another one of the reasons that the Germans gravitated toward the Tutsi people. But also at that particular time, as I say, the Tutsis, the king at that particular time was a part of the Tutsi people, the king. So the Germans struck a deal with them because the Germans knew they was actually going to need help in this area that they was not totally familiar with. So they was going to need local help. So the Tutsis, they struck a deal with the Tutsis. So let's go. So just a little bit of the backdrop so y'all can kind of understand how these things took place, because a lot of stuff that you read, I'm not saying that a lot of people gloss over this. Even when you get into 1994 and even when you look at interviews, a lot of interviews, you read social news media outlets, reports, they talk about these horrendous crimes or this horrendous atrocity that took place between these two African tribes in Rwanda. And they never give a backdrop of what actually happened. They don't talk about these European powers coming into Africa and carving up Africa. They don't talk about after the conference, it began to cause many problems in Africa. It doesn't tell you in these on these outlets or some of these reports of how the Germans came in and set up divide and conquer amongst these people. They just go straight in and talk about these two African people as such, especially the Hutus, as bad people, but they don't tell you exactly what happened and why the Hutus began to resent the Tutsi people and what led to a genocide. I mean, it led to this genocide in 1994 but this stuff transpired. They don't talk about 1884. So I wanted to give y'all a little bit more backdrop of that before we go further into the article. So now it says the division between the Hutus, who made up the country's largest ethnic groups, and the Tutsis, who formed the second largest ethnic group. The Belgian viewed the Tutsi minority as superiority and favored the Tutsis for leadership. But again, this is after the World War. After the World War, so again, the Germans were there before the Belgians were there. But right now in this article, it's talking about the Belgians, but we're going, so I wanted to give you a backdrop with the Germans. View the Tutsis superior, and even when the Belgians come in, before I go even further, after the World War, the Belgians took over that geographical location in Rwanda. And the Belgians came in and set the same thing in motion, divide and conquer. The Germans had already set it up for a long particular time, and it was working for the Germans, right? And now the Belgians did the same thing, and then they would come in. The Belgians came in, and the Belgians began to measure the Tutsis. They measured the Tutsis to see how tall they were, measured their lips, their nose, and etc., to make sure that these groups of people that they was going to continue to divide and conquer. The Tutsis will get certain privileges and outright because they also needed the help from the local people in that area. And again, through the Germans' colonization, through the Belgian colonization, the Hutus began to resent and hate the Tutsis more because of the rights and privileges that they was getting from these European powers that was in the area. And could the Tutsis did something better? Yes, I think they should have did something better. They should have involved their brethren or their kinsmen, and let these Germans know that we're all the same people and we should all be treated fairly. We should all be treated like we belong in this place. We should all have certain rights and privileges. We should all have certain types of statuses, and we should all be treated fair and equally. But that wasn't the case. So the Tutsis minority as superior, the favorite Tutsis for the leadership position. The favoritisms created ongoing and deeper tensions between the Hutus and the Tutsis. In the late 1950s and the early 1960s, the struggles from independence from Belgian rule gained strength in Rwanda. These struggles included violence of the Hutus and the Tutsis as two groups sought power. In the 1962s, the nation achieved independence and the Hutu leaders assumed control of the government. Many Tutsis were massacred. Others were forced to flee the countries as ruling governments portrayed them as a threat in Rwanda. The anti-Tutsis sentiments behind these attacks contribute to the conditions of the genocide that followed the 32 years later. Now, this here, I can't play this video. We're going to play some videos also through this, me reading this article and me explaining some of this, going a little bit in depth and some of the things that happened. But this in here is a brother here, Sean Boski, Iya Karyimi. He actually talks about, the attacks and the things that he's seen, but it's in French, so we can't play that video. But we're gonna play a few videos that actually some of these that actually spoke in English. He's speaking, I think, in French on this video here. But by the mid 1960s, more than 400,000 Tutsis had fled to the neighboring countries such as Rwanda and Uganda. Although concerts, violence, attacks against the Tutsis began to wander later in decades. Prejudice and suspicions against the minority groups remain. So, as I talked earlier, just giving y'all a backdrop, because again, like I said, a lot of stuff that you read and a lot of news, online news media reports doesn't give you the full story of how these two people began to war against each other, and then one group of people, the Hutus, began to set genocide and wanted to kill off the entire Tutsis from existence. Um, so, but after the Germans and the Belgians came in, and then later during the end, Belgium awarded them the independence. The shift, a shift took place, and the Hutus began to take power over the Rwanda, and they had a Hutu president at this particular time. And then the Hutus never, from generation to generation, never forgot what happened in 1884 with the Germans coming in and the Germans favoring the Tutsis and setting a deal with the Tutsis, you know, for local help and etc. Um, Now the coup d'etat leads to another exile, and and you'll see this a lot too. Coups that took place. We talked about a lot of coups that was staged in Burkina Faso a couple of weeks ago. When I talked about it in my I Am Thomas Sankara presentation, and you'll see that a lot where a lot of the military staged these coups, and doing these coups, you know, someone else, you know, these coups where they take over the government, and you know, someone else becomes in position of power, someone particularly a military status that stages these certain types of coups, or they stage the military stage a certain type of coup and take over the government and put who they want in position or who they want in power. So in 1973, a Hutu general named Juvenal Habyarimana seized control of the government. Habyarimana government reinforced the anti-Tutsis and pro-Hutu sentiments. This led to another wave of violence directed at the Tutsis. Jacques Ragaga described the extreme levels of discrimination he and his family faced in 1976. This is another interview that I wish I could play, but he's actually speaking in French. But don't worry, we're gonna play a few videos of people with first-hand account, and then after this, we're gonna go into we're gonna talk about oh man, I wish I would have knew that, Sean. I sure wish I would have knew that. But after we play a couple of videos and I continue to expound and read some of this article, and we may jump into another article, then we're going to go back and verify. We're going to play another video, and we're going to first send account from this Hutu woman who actually resides in Texas. So she's going to give her first-hand accounts and her experience as a young child, and the things that she saw and the things that took place with her and her family. All right, the exiled Tutsis pushed for the rights to return home. Throughout the 1980s, Tutsis who had been exiled from Rwanda to surround the countries began to press for their rights to return to their home countries. In 1960s, the Tutsi rebels, a group known as the Rwanda Patriotic Front, invaded Rwanda. This launched a civil war as the military responds with force. The anti-Tutsi sentiments began to increase, and intensely the Hutu-dominated media painted the Tutsis minority as a threat to Rwanda. So, like we were saying, during this resentment that took place, this hatred that developed during the German and the Belgium, because the Tutsi had certain rights and privileges, and the Hutus were treated like second-class citizens or even like slaves in their own home country. And the Tutsis did nothing, said nothing, but reaped the benefits from the Germans by helping the Germans, because the Germans needed local help when they begin to colonize this geographical location, which we see the colonizer that comes in and sets up imperialism and such, they all and sets up their government. They always have select certain individuals that has been there to do certain things in their government to keep colonization going. So the Hutu, not the Tutsis, began to flee after the Belgians, right? After the Belgians, uh, after Rwanda became independent, right? So the shift in power took place. The Hutus began, had a president, you know, was over the government, and then they began to up the ante with their hatred and began to war more against the Tutsis. The Tutsis, fearing for their lives, begins to flee, right? So they fled into Uganda, Burinda, I can't pronounce it, that country, right? And even in they even went into Central Africa. They went into the Congo, which I'll talk briefly about that, but you don't hear a lot of them. You don't hear a lot of reports talking about events that happened in the Congo with the Tutsis migrating into that area. Some things happened in that area as well as the Tutsis ended up in the Congo. But anyway, you know, the Tutsis wanted to come home. So the Rwanda, they formed these certain Tutsis formed, you know, this group, the Rwanda Patriotic Front. Then they launched a civil war as a, like I said, as a military response to the forces. But again, the Hutus had the area. The Tutsis ran for their life, right? So when the Tutsis was trying to migrate and come back home, you know, and even before then, you know, they controlled the radio waves. So the Hutus was actually push propaganda, which we'll talk a little bit more about that, against the Tutsis. You know what I'm saying? Trying to rile up the Hutus people in each village and each community about these Tutsi people. So they began to push these propaganda, you know what I'm saying, on the radio, you know what I'm saying, on the media outlets, you know what I'm saying, mistruths about the Tutsis and why they was actually forming this patriotic front, because they actually wanted to migrate back home because this is where they was from, right? So now this civil war begins to break out because the Tutsis are trying to come home. Now, right here it says Bonaventure Callis shares his memories of the beginning of the civil war in Rwanda and how it sets the stage of increasing suspicions towards the Tutsis, which the suspicious is what I'm talking about, is how when they begin, you'll see as this civil war break out and things happen, and then the Tutsis was allowed to come back, the propaganda begins to get more because these Hutus and these Hutus militias is trying to uprouse the people, even scare the people, you know what I'm saying, to start to defend themselves against the Tutsis or do certain things to the Tutsis if they seen these people, or even if they would even come into their neighborhoods. But you'll see that, you know, at one particular time when they came back, they began to live in peace, because prior to 1884, the Germans coming in after the Berlin Conference, after these European powers began to slice up Africa, these people lived in peace amongst one another. They lived in peace. But again, a lot of these news outlets and some of the people that cover the story, especially the event that took place in 1994, no one never tells you what happened. Nobody tells you that these European powers came in, the Germans in particular, who set up the divide and conquer amongst these two people, and had the Hutus began to resent and hate these other groups of people, which led up to war, them fighting amongst each other, which led up to a civil war, which led up into the 1994 genocide. So let's hear about what this brother here remember during that event of the Civil War. See if it's gonna play it. Oh man, hold on, let me take this out. Hold on, I got my headphones in. Let me go back and see if it's gonna let me. It might not even. Oh man, it may not even play the volume. Let's see. Y'all can't even hear the volume, man. Wow. Hold on, let me see. Let me see. I wonder why it's not playing the volume. Let me see something else, y'all. Take this out. Let's see. It won't even do that, man. I don't know why it's not letting me play the volume right now. Let me do this. I'm gonna start sharing. Y'all give me just a second. I'm gonna start sharing for a second. I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna go back and share and see if they'll let me share. Okay, share. Okay, but it's not giving me the option with okay, with sound. Oh man. Hey, one of y'all brothers can help me, man, on the panel, man, with the sound. That would be tell me what I'm doing wrong. But it's not playing the sound.
What's going on, Kofi?
It won't let me play the sound. You can hear them, but it's not letting me play the sound at all.
Is your computer muted?
Hold on, let me see them. Let me see something.
Well, you can check on your keyboard. You should be able to check on your keyboard too.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I turned it up. Let me see if that's gonna let me play. It's still not letting me play the sound, man. For some reason.
You on YouTube?
Nah, I'm on our article now. I'm not on YouTube. I know it's to let me play it on YouTube, but this here is on this website. This
Is the
Canadian.
volume up on
that? I don't even see the. I see that. Y'all bear with me just 1 second. They don't even show. They don't even have. They don't even show the volume on here. Hold on. Let me do this. If I do this, nah, it's still not. Let's see. It's still not showing the volume. I mean, it's still not showing the volume. Well, I'm gonna move on, man. I'll play this other video. I know it's gonna play on what's the name, but this is basically he was just talking about the things that he actually saw and some of the things that actually led up to the Civil War and why some of the Tutsis was actually coming home and actually talking about some of the propaganda that the Hutus was actually, laying down through the news media and the radios and arousing the people to look at the Hutus. You know how it is, man, where we being discriminated, how, the same thing that's happening here in the United States. The United States, present us in a negative light as well. Where, people come around us, they think all black people are thugs and criminals and trying to rob them and, sell drugs in their community. But can't play that video. But let's go on. Assassination leads to the exploit. But I'm going to play another video I know that's going to play at the end. It's going to verify some of this. A woman who actually seen a lot of this as a young age and actually experienced something, because you're actually going to see her hand. And I'll talk about what happened to her hand. But assassination led to the explosion of hostility. After the Civil War in Rwanda, Rwanda had raged for 3 years. Hutus President Habyarimana, what is let me see, I'm gonna try to get that. Habyarimana and RPF signed a peace according to the cease of hostility. Many Hutus extremists were critical of the agreement and continued to incite anti-Tutsi hatred. So remember, we talked about the coup that took place. This commander this coup took place. He became the president, right? And he reinforced this thing of against the Hutu people. Against the Tutsi people. And later on, doing this, the formation of the Rwanda Patriotic Front, Patriotic Front and the civil war that took place, they began to come up with an agreement. So now you begin to see this agreement that take place in Rwanda with the president. Now, you know, the Tutsis are allowed to come back and not, you know, fear for their life. They have a peace agreement set in place. But you still have a lot of people that still hated the Tutsi and still have carried this sentiment of anti-Tutsi, right? So the United Nations peacekeepers included Romero Delara, a high-ranking Canadian military officer who commanded the peacekeeper force, warned the massacre of the Tutsi by the Hutu extremists could be imminent. And if this video don't play, I'll kind of talk about what actually some of the stuff that I read about him, and you know what he was saying in the video. But retired Lieutenant General Didier recalls how the Hutu extremists he called hardliners manipulated young people into believing that the path of the good future lay with them. After enticing them with food, music, and sports, these extremists indoctrinated young people to hate the Tutsis and prepare them to be activated participants in the target Tutsis when the genocide began. I'm gonna see if this video will play. If it don't, I'll just tell you what he actually was talking about. Let's see. It won't even play it video. I don't know why it won't play it on this thing. And I listen to it from off here. Maybe because we live and they won't let us play the voices. The audio.
It might have did something new, Kofi, because I was trying to play something yesterday too, and it wouldn't let me.
It wouldn't. Yeah, that might be what it is. And it won't let me play it. But you need to go to Vimeo. He's saying I need to go to Vimeo, but I might go to Vimeo. But I'll just real quick, you know, this Lieutenant General right here, you know, again, once the peace was this peace treaty between the Tutsis and the Tutsis, the Hutu president allowed the Tutsis to come back and not fear for their life. You know, now they began to kind of live back like they was prior before the Germans came in, and the Hutus and the Tutsi began to be neighbors again. You know, in these villages, they was neighbors, right? But you had certain people, and even these militias, and continue to practice this sentiment of anti-hatred. So they began to indoctrinate they started bringing up some of the youth and started indoctrinating some of the youth, and enticing them with food and music and sport. That's how they draw them in to these militias. Militias began to indoctrinate them, to hate the Tutsis after the peace treaty was set in place. But this lieutenant, he begins to know that back in January, which leads up, I think it was April, that the genocide begins to take place. And he notified the United Nations of what these militias, the Hutu militias, was finna start to do, or was trying to do, or what they was trying to put in motion. But they disregarded that. And if they would have been precautious and took heed of what this lieutenant was saying when he was trying to warn the United Nations of what was finna happen, this genocide that took place in 1994, they could have ended or resolved a lot of death that took place against the Hutus and the Tutsis. So now on April 6, 1994, the plane carried President Habyarimana, as well as the Rwanda president, Cypherin, I can't pronounce that last name, was shot down. The extremist Hutu blames the Tutsis rebellion for the attack, while the Tutsi rebels denied it and blamed the members of Habyarimana Rwandese own government, the identity of those responsible for the crash are still unknown. So they still don't know what happened when the plane was shot down. Again, remember, the Hutu president, set a peace treaty up where the Tutsis was allowed to come back, right? They didn't have to fear for their life, but you had certain Hutus that still hated the Tutsis for what happened when the Germans and the Belgians set up divide and conquer, right? And so my thing is, I'll say, and I could be wrong, and again, this is Kofi Piesie speaking, not nobody else. So I'm giving my hypotheses on what I think happened because the crash is still unknown. So I believe that the Hutus, these militias, shot down the plane with the president, with the Hutu president in it, because they did not agree with what he did for as setting a peace treaty up between the Hutus and the Tutsis. But, and I believe this, again, this is my hypothesis, that the Hutus, those militias, shot the plane down, and it was all a plan and a strategy in order to arouse and push more propaganda and set in motion what they had already been planning to try to do, was kill off every Tutsi that was back in Rwanda. And now the propaganda that they pushed was that it was CC, it was the Tutsi, because if you go and you look and you look at certain things, and I talk about the media outlets and certain things where the Hutus was controlling, because again, the Hutus, that this area became the Hutus, especially after the 1961, and the Tutsis feared for their life once the Hutus got in position and they got a president, a Hutu president, and they feared their life, so they began to migrate and move out of that area, right? And then they wanted to, later on in time, they wanted to migrate back into this area. And the president, the Hutu president, after the Tutsis began to set up this front, the Rwanda Patriotic Front, and this civil war took place because the Tutsi wanted to come back home. This is our home, so we wanted to come back home. So the plane was shot down. And this is a picture of one of the patriotic fronts that's actually walking around some of the wreckage that transpired on April the 6th, when the president of Rwanda plane was shot down. But I think that this was something that the Hutu militia did this to set this stuff into motion, to now uprise the rest of the people, or rest of the community in the villages in Rwanda, to now see, because they had already been pushing, if you look, they had already been pushing propaganda on the Tutsis. The Tutsis are trying to come back and take over the land. The Tutsis are trying to make us second-class citizens. The Tutsi is trying to resort us back to slavery, or treat us as slaves, as such, or treat us as not being equal to them. See, they are trying to come back and take over. They're trying to kill us, so they began to push this propaganda. See, they shot down the president. They shot down the plane with our president in it to uprise the people, and then to justify the killings that was about to take place. But again, like I said, this is unknown. This is my hypothesis. This is what I think that what happened. I could be wrong, but this is what I think they did. Right? Now, what people need to know about the genocide is that one of those crimes that you can see coming is when the president Ramani plans was shot down, knocked out the sky over Killmonger. We know what happened. We know that it was that this is John Boski quoted, that we knew that it was it for the Tutsis in 1994 against the Tutsis in Rwanda. Now we're talking about 1994. Now, we still, we went from 1984. We talked about what led up to the hatreds of the Hutus hating the Tutsis, certain things that transpired. Now, what I was talking about, where I talked about this lieutenant who went to the United Nations after this peace treaty had been in place, and he began to get wind of these Hutus militias who was actually training young children up to continue hate for the Tutsis after this peace treaty was set in place, right? Excuse me. And now, when the plane was shot down, now they began to attack the Tutsis. In the aftermath of the attack for the President Habyarimana plane, extremist Hutus began to concert attacks against the Tutsis in Rwanda. From April to July 1994, the massacre was carried out by government forces as well as armed militias known as the now not only the militias now involved, you got the government forces now involved as well against the genocide for the Tutsi, because the propaganda now has been pushed that if you see, they have shot down our planes. We have tried to tell y'all from the beginning that the Tutsi, again, this is all this propaganda, all stemming from what took place in 1884. And this hatred has been passed down from one generation to the next generation, right? Tutsis was widespread as neighbors turned on neighbors, friends turned on friends, and even family turned on family. So now, during this time, you had, again, like I said, during the peace in these villages, now you got the Tutsis and the Hutus are trying to live peacefully amongst each other. They are neighbors. But after this took place, now neighbors turned on neighbors, friends turned on friends. And that means Hutus turned on Tutsis. The Hutus turned on the Tutsis. And even, those Hutus that did not want to turn on their Tutsi friends, or the Hutus did not want to turn on their neighbors who were the Tutsis, they got it too. They got it too. The gay got it too. The government forces and the militia killed them if they didn't kill the Tutsi, because it was a thing out now that the Tutsis must die. So they began to roam in all villages and began to burn down villages. They began to drag these Tutsis out of places, or they began to Hutus over here, Tutsis over here. Even, some of the Hutus and the Tutsis that I see, you can't distinguish one from the other, even though I talked about the Germans. When the Germans came in, the Germans, the European standard of beauty, they looked at the Tutsis as that standard because the Tutsis was a little more taller than the Hutus. They said the Tutsis had thin lips, thin noses, which you can see on some of the pictures, even if you go and look at the president. And we're going to talk about the president of Rwanda and certain things that happened, how long this guy actually been the president. Who actually became the president in 2000. So he's been the president 2010. So he's been the president for about 20 years in Rwanda. President Rwanda now, but you can actually see the same thing. You can actually see him has a fur. He's not that dark. He has a thin pointed nose, thin lips. You know what I'm saying? The standard with these Europeans, but that I don't believe that was just particular, but that wasn't all. But again, because again, they needed the local help. And at that particular time, the Tutsis, one of the Tutsi people was a president. And again, if you had cattle, one group of people was herders, one group of people was farmers. We know that if you had stock, you would be considered rich. You would be considered rich, And at that particular time, the Tutsis was the president, was a king, and had the higher monarchy at that time. But again, they lived in peace until the Germans and the Belgians came in, right? So the members of the where it says members of the Hutus militias went from house to house looking for Tutsis to kill. They set roadblocks and stopped people and forced them to show their identity cards. I showed y'all on the presentation the carving up of Africa. I actually showed you actually the cards because again, like I said, some of them actually look the same, the Tutsi and the Hutu. And again, this is my thing of saying that these people were one people. You know, it wasn't no Hutus, Tutsi. I mean, one had a skill set in farming, one had a skill set in goat herders. They both lived in peace. Again, these people speak the same language. They had the same culture, the same tradition, the same morals, ethics, and edicts, etc. So these were one people until the European came in, right? So now they began to distinguish these people by the identification cards. The Belgians are the one that established these identification cards. After the World War, the Belgium took over after Germany did, and they began to identify them one from the other by identification cards. And I showed y'all that identification cards on the carving up of Africa presentation put a name on it. So I showed you that when I talked briefly about, the Tutsi and the Hutu, just giving you an example, because one of the many problems in Africa was divide and conquer. I gave a list of examples after the 1884 Berlin Conference and the many problems that followed behind it. So I gave you a list, but I gave you an example of one of the lists of the many problems, which is divide and conquer in Africa. And so I gave you an example with these two groups of people, but I gave it briefly. So I wanted to come back and give you some firsthand accounts, which I wasn't able to play the videos, but I will give you, I wanted to give you a couple of videos, but I'll give you one in just a minute here to end off this video. But, they began to identify, like I said, the Hutus over here, the Tutsis over here. Break out your identification cards and etc. Those that didn't have it, you know what I'm saying? They would allow the neighbor to point them out. Are he telling the truth? If this guy's saying he's Hutu, but he's Tutsi, then the neighbor can point out, no, he's Tutsi. He's not Hutu. In addition to the members of the Tutsi minority moderated, Hutus refused participation in the genocides were also targeted, as I spoke about a while ago. So a lot of the Hutus that didn't participate now doing this genocide, they were also targeted in the genocide as well. They was killed as well. You're not going to participate, then we're going to kill you too. So a lot of the Hutus that were against what was happening, they got it too, or they was forced to also participate in the genocide. As a member of the indigenous group of Rwanda was known as the Tribes. Genocide survivor Dada Grossa, and I know this video ain't gonna play neither. I wanted to play this, and this sister actually speaking about when the plane was actually shot down and this genocide was put into motion. I know I ain't gonna be able to play this in neither. Let's see. But I know Sean told me I have to go to him. There's a bunch of videos on here that I wanted. And these videos were short, but wasn't able to play those videos. But the genocide against the Tutsis in Rwanda finally ended in July 1994. So it went on for 100 days. Excuse me. From April to July. And between that time, it was in those 100 days, estimated 100,000 to 1 million people was killed during this genocide. And like I said, a lot of these news outlets, a lot of these reports and data, they talk about the 1994. He talk about these. What is Sean talking about? He says, I'm not listening, man. I'm not finna go to them other pages, Sean. I mean, it's a bunch of videos that I will probably have to try to find through Vimeo on this, man. I'm not finna go through because I wanted to play about 6 or 7 videos.
You don't have to go through Vimeo and find it. Go to a video right now. Hold on, let me pause YouTube. So go to the video that you want to play.
Hold on.
Just
Hold on, let me go back. We'll play this in here.
All right, now, okay, hold on. Scroll up a little bit. Scroll up. All right, you see that arrow above the clock? Right? Go down. Yeah.
This
just hit that. Nah, it's gonna say share, but just hit that for me. Okay, now I'm trying to see. All right, so you got Venmo. All right, hit the X. Okay, now go scroll down a little bit. You should be able to play this video. If not, you can hit share where to go to a thing, and then you can just play it from right there if you really want to play the video. But I mean, I did it on my phone and I did it on my tablet, and I was able to play it. I could grab my laptop and play it, but my laptop was upstairs.
Yeah, no, it's all good, man. I ain't, we ain't gotta play it, cause I'm gonna play this last video, cause this woman, I can play it from YouTube. She gonna sum up like a lot of the stuff that I actually was talking about that wasn't on the article, and the stuff that we was talking about on this article. I wanted to read this other article, but I wouldn't. But let's go to this.
And also, when you go to share and you copy the web link, you can bring it up in your browser automatically and play the video.
Oh, okay. Yeah, see, I ain't know that because I.
So when you hit that arrow again and then you copy the share, like hit the arrow right there. But
I know it.
All right, copy the URL.
Come on, right here and then play that.
Hit it, click it. There go your video. Yeah. And there go your sound.
Let's see what it do. I'll just play this in here. It's still not.
Hold up. Scroll down a little bit. Let me see something. I'm on my phone, so I really can't see your stuff. See, I got a Venmo account. Go back up. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you tripping, bro. Yeah, go back over. All right, so now you're not signed in and nothing. I can't see your things in the way at the top right, but hold up. Go to the 4 boxes right there above the arrow where you hit share. Mm-hmm. Because
it's an ad.
All right, never mind.
Yeah.
Nah, you ain't got no account. Yeah. So you getting duped.
It's all good. I'm gonna just play this and I'm gonna end the video, but we're gonna play this a little bit. This is actually a Tutsi woman, and she actually gonna talk about some of the stuff I talked about or I expound on, and some of the stuff that I read in one of the articles. She actually experienced and she actually went through some of these things. So check her out. Oh, hold on. Hold on, y'all.
And the skinny, no, the Tutsi.
I'm gonna go back.
I had my headphones in right there.
Let me go back. Right there.
When do you remember thinking something?
Let me know if y'all can hear it now. I had my headphones in on that one. I can hear it, but I know y'all
something
can
was
hear it.
wrong. I wasn't yet to know what happened for but I knew for the things they were teaching us for the Hutu and the Tutsi. Yeah, as I was going to school, they used to ask us about Hutu and the Tutsi. They say, "Are you Hutu?" And then if you don't know, you ask at home, and then they tell you, "Oh no, you are not Hutu, you are Tutsi." So I was Tutsi, and they used to say that the Hutu are kind of tall and skinny. No, the Tutsi.
Yeah.
tall and skinny, and having those cows and grow the farm.
You see, she's talking about the same thing. You know, she was learning about this is what they was actually teaching them in school. Too, the Hutus were tall, skinny, pointed nose, thin lips. You know, and the Tutsis was herders, and the Hutus were farmers.
Like cows, and they used to tell us like the Hutu they like to dig, set up like to work on the field, and to put the stuff on this market. That's their job, and they ask job to prepare milk and so on. That's the things they used to teach us in school, and kind of like tradition. And so when our president died, because he was coming from the meeting in Tanzania, and then someone shut down the airplane, and then in some city.
Y'all see her hands, she has no fingers, and she's going to talk about that in a minute. She actually went through the genocide. She's seen certain things, so y'all pay attention to what she's saying. Now she's talking about 1994 when their president plane was shot down.
They start to use the bombs, the guns, and they kill people. But that time I didn't know it was killing the Tutsi or Hutu. I thought everybody's dying. And as I said, they were close to Tanzania. Many people could just get to the Tanzania, cross the river, or even go another way. But we had our leaders, like Mayor, who used to say that we'll be in the cities, we will not come in the village. Those who live in the village, it's okay. You guys stay doing what you're doing. Don't go anywhere. It's okay. Nothing will come from the far away in the city, and they come to kill the people and in the village. So they give us hope, saying that just use the radio and like talking, like use a microphone everywhere. Guys, still where you are, it's okay. Don't be afraid, it's okay. That's why many people died in the villages. And
well, in a small village, you were friends with Hutu, you were friends with Tutsi.
Yes,
yeah.
They were sharing each other. Nobody was like angry with each other. And we know each other that this family is Hutu, this family is Tutsi. Just know each other, but sharing everything each other. And then many people died in the cities, and then they started to come to the villages. The people in the villages didn't have the cars to drive. They used to use a bicycle and just walking. And then those who caused the genocide in the cities, they send army and guns and the machetes and stuff in the village with the cars. Then we saw just cars coming using the bombs and killing, and the people started to go on the churches. Others they died at the same time. Yeah.
So your father came in and said, "We're going to the church."
Yeah. Well, in the evening they said that river. I said the Kajara River. They were to go to Tanzania. There were many soldiers. And many people were dying. And if you can see my document, actually, you can see how many people died in the river too. They threw them in the river. Others were dying on the mountain. Others were dying on the street. So and then they say the board is already crossed. Those who tried to go in, they are dying already. They have gone to church. Maybe we can survive. And then also they told us, there was a war, but no genocide in 1959. These are that, 7 something maybe. Yeah, 1959 they had the war, and some of our grandpas they died. Some of them who were in the church they survived. Nobody killed them. That's why the most people were in the churches.
So a large group of people is gathering at the church.
And churches, it depends where you are. Like when they send the cars, they send the people to kill the soldiers, and they teach them to separate the people. Kill the Hutu, kill the Tutsi, don't kill the Hutu. So they say the Hutu, if you are Hutu, just do your job. So they even the neighbor, they change automatically.
Right. What she talking about, what I read in an article a while ago about them separating the Hutus and the Tutsis, and I expound on how the Hut after everything was set in motion by the government forces and the militia, right? You know, even I told you the Hutu got it. If you didn't do your job, you got it. So, you know, they, encourage people also to, if you was around the Tutsi, kill them. So that's what she's talking about, an incident when they was all in the church. She's talking about a lot of people started gathering in the church because they thought the church would be a safe place for them if they went into the churches, but that wasn't the case.
Like Sky, they start to kill the neighbors, the Tutsis neighbor, those who have like wives, and then there are Tutsis, they start to kill them, and so on. They become like an animal, and they start to kill.
I know once you get to the church and once the crowd is gathered in the church, you have pretty vivid memories of what happened next.
Yeah.
Can you share that with us?
Yeah, as I said, that we were in church, was in the evening on 12. And then when we get in church, those killed, they didn't come behind us to kill automatically. They stay behind, taking the stuff from the houses, taking those farmers, those are cows, those stuff, those who have money and so on, just taking the stuff and kill those who know in church yet. And then we stayed there. They destroyed the houses. We stayed there on 12 night and 13, 14. On the next day, they come. And then they come there, and then the people inside the church were many people inside and outside the houses. And then they start, some of them, they start to jump the fence to go, like, escape. They kill them, they kill around, those who running on the mountain, those who running around. But we have soldiers who are the fences, who are guard the fences to those who cannot jump again. And then after they came in with that time was soldiers mix the people again, by no soldiers,
Civilians?
Yeah, civilians. And then they come in and then they start to kill the people. But that time, before they kill, they said, if you are Tutsi here, if you are Hutu here, and if I lie, we never know who I am. They said, you are right. And then
right, and that's what I was talking about right there too. What she's explaining too, that you could even lie because your neighbor will point you out. You know, if you're Tutsi and you say you're Hutu, your neighbor will point you out, and tell them that you are lying. But they also had, like I said, they had the identification cards too.
You lie, you are Hutu, they kill very badly. Like, to give it as an example, to not lie anymore. They cut off the fingers, they cut off the arm, they take out the eyes, like, very badly. And then just to show that you are right to them, and then you waste your time.
So are you all in the main sanctuary of the church?
Yeah, we were, the church was full, and then, but the church has another next church. like the where the priests stay and where the nuns stay.
Yeah.
That's where we were. My family and I, we were where the nuns stay. But when they come, we were separate with my mom and my sisters. I was with my daddy. But my mom and the other kids, they just ran into another rooms. And myself, I stay with daddy and my young brother. And then we stay in one room, and then they come. We were in front, so they just come in and the door, the big door, and they start to kill, and use machete. They said, "Do not waste the gun." Yeah, or the bomb. We use it somewhere because this one use stone, use machete and so on, and then they use machete and they use knives and so on. They kill the people. They use a gun to those who jumped, and then they kill my father, and then they cut me in my head, my head, and then they throw me the many bodies, and they thought that I was dying that day. And then they left like people dying. And then they left, it was night, and then it was raining. And then they left. The next day on 14, they come back in the morning. They used to come to kill at 7 o'clock in the morning. And then they came, and then that time they were just looking those who didn't die last night. And then they used to take the bones, not the bone. They used to take the stone and then throw the bodies to see who's got, like, yeah, to scare it.
See who's still alive.
Yeah, still alive. And then they took some people who were almost died, but not even walking. They were really wounded. They put them outside. And then I was there too. Someone saw me. They said, "Oh, she's still alive." And then I saw my young sister, my older sister too. She was really almost dying. She couldn't even talk to me. And then myself was on my head and over here and my shoulder. And then we went out. And then there.
So I'm pause real quick. She, like I said, she witnessed all of this firsthand. So she seen her mother, not her mother, because they got swept in the different rooms, but her father, she seen her father. She knew her father got killed. She seen her sister got killed, and they thought they killed her. She's going to explain that a little bit more in the video. I'm going to play a few more minutes of the video. I'm not going to play it all, and then I'll wrap up the show.
There was other people coming from the like the field, from like the way they carry them but not die too. And some of them they just tied them, and then they were very bad. And then they start to say, "Why you guys didn't die?" Nobody said why. Well, the kids were crying, and then with the wounded, and then they I saw the men who were our neighbor. Yeah, and then he saw me. I wasn't close to my sister, really close. My sister was like over there, but she couldn't talk. She was very bad than where I was. And then since we left home, nobody ate, nobody drinks. Very hungry and wounded and so on. And then the men said, "Why didn't die? Your all family died, but you and the sister didn't die. Why?" And then they said, "When you kill snake, you smash the head." That's how they give. That was the mayor. Again, mayor just come with that a lot of machetes. That is the way they used to use like sticker, no sticks. How do we call? Stick. It's a stick.
Like a
Let's
club?
take it
Like a club or a
no.
baton?
Stick like the tree, and then make bigger here.
I see, like a club.
Yeah. Like a hammer.
Like
They
a
have a
hammer.
lot of hammer, but those they make it like a stick, and then they put the nails in it.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. He comes with a lot of stuff with others people coming to kill too. And then he said that when you kill the snake, you match the head. Because when you match the head, they will not be alive anymore. And then, so you guys, you do your best. And then he give like the one, and they start to kill. So that man who crossed to me, I know him. And then he took my hands, and then he put down, and then he matched it. Just slowly asking.
Now she's talking about what happened to her hands. They came back into the church where they hid at, and her family got killed at. And they came back the next day to see if everybody was dead. And they found her and her other sister, her oldest sister, I presume died because she said her older sister was wounded real bad, and she couldn't even talk to her. She couldn't even, older sisters couldn't even speak at that point. So when they come back, her and her other sister were still alive. It's just why she kept saying, they saying you not dead, you still alive. So now she explaining what they actually started doing to her. Right then they had already sliced her in the head and on the neck. So then they threw her into her body, into other bodies that they presume was dead, to leave her to die. But when they come back, like I said, they found out that her and her other sister, I don't know if she said it was a young sister, I can't remember, but now she's explaining what happened to her hands.
Where is your old brother? I said, I don't know. And then why he didn't die, and then he didn't say anything. And then he marched it. If you see in my website, you could see how my hands was matched. They match it, the nails flows away, everything. He match it. Sometimes he changed him. He put on them. Was a sticker. He used he beat me to my legs, and he beat me here again. And then he gave. But before on the first day, they hit me in my head, and then they gave me the knife here. I can show her, but I cannot show.
I'm not gonna play the rest of the video. If y'all want to look at the rest of the video, I got the video link in the description. If you want to check out the video, she actually goes in how she survived. She ends up in a hospital. She stayed in a hospital for I think 7 or 8 months. She talked about how she ended up in the United States. She's, like I said, she resides in Texas. I forgot what part of Texas, but it was a good interview. So like I said, the interview is in the description. A few other links is in the description for as the article I was reading from this museum article, the Canadian Museum article, a few other articles I have in there that you can actually read about this. But yeah, I just wanted to just expound because I said I was going to come back and expound, which I supposed to did that earlier this week, but didn't get a chance to because I only touched brief on it in a presentation that I did. So I wanted to come back and just give more in-depth information on what I talk about, the divide and conquer. This is just one incident that you've seen where the European powers come into Africa and they divide and conquer. They set these things in motion where they begins, where people or ethnic groups was once peaceful and lived amongst one another, now are divided and hating and fighting against one another. So I mean, there's many incidents of that, with these Europeans doing these things, or even coming in giving a particular group of people power over another group of power, just to keep their colonization going, to keep, you know, whatever purpose that they has to fulfill in that geographical location, which most of the time is they trying to come and rape these geographical locations in Africa for their natural resources. You even see where the Europeans come in and give one group of people weapons. You know what I'm saying? Weaponize one group of people and don't give another group of people go in a war, and they go in and take the land from as these two groups of people or groups of people begins to fight amongst one another. So this divide and conquer tactic, you know, has been going on for a long period of time. But I just wanted to talk about that because a little bit and give some more context and go in depth, because a lot of things that you read, they always talk about the Hutus, you know, as these awful people, you know, that actually set up. And actually what they did was it was terrible to go in and try the same thing that Hitler did. He tried to go in and genocide a whole group of people. The Hutus actually tried to do the same thing in 1994. And again, I said, my hypothesis is that they actually set those things into motion. The militia actually set those things into motion when they shot the plane down after the peace treaty was set, and the Hutu president allowed the Tutsis to come back and live in their home or their native land without fear of getting killed. But a lot of people don't talk about the Germans, don't talk about the Belgians, what actually led up to these two groups of people that was actually living in peace, you know what I'm saying, amongst one another before these European powers come into their country and divided them up and treated one group of people better than the other. I say, you know, could the Tutsis did a little bit, handle things a little bit better? You know, you know, I think they should have, you know, but they excluded the Hutus or didn't, you know, talk up in their behalf to the Germans who came in and colonized that area. So over generations, the Hutus began to set up resentment and hatred, as I explained, because of the rights and privileges, as I would say, that the Germans was actually given the Hutus the status and position and power that the Germans was actually given the Tutsi people in the land, and then treating the Hutus, and the Germans treated the Hutus badly, treated the Hutus terribly. And the Belgium come into that area after the World War and did the same thing. They just continued to implement the divide and conquer method that the Germans had already created in Germany between the Hutus and the Tutsis, and, you know, gave the Tutsis the same rights and privileges as the Germans have, certain status, wealth, position of power, and etc., and continued to treat the Hutus terribly, you know what I'm saying, and not equally as they treated the Tutsis. So, you know, I just wanted to, you know, bring some more context. So I'm gonna share my screen and I'm gonna get off of here real quick. Let me go back and reshare my screen real quick. But like I said, I got those links in there, even the video. Go check out the video, man. The video was, like I said, was a pretty video. It was a first-hand account of Tutsi lady who actually was there on the grounds in 1994, whose family got killed, and she was one of the survivors. And she talked about what happened to her and her family. Even the Tutsi people that was there. Also, I have the link in there for this other thing where the Vimo videos wouldn't play, but it'll play once y'all get it. And it didn't play for me, Sean, even though I had my headphones in, it still wouldn't play. Because if it would have played, I would have heard the audio through my headphones, but I couldn't even hear that audio through my headphones, but I could hear the audio through the headphones on the YouTube end. That's why I unplugged it, because I knew y'all couldn't hear it because I had my things plugged in, but it would not let me play those videos. But let me go back here real quick. Let me share my screen. I'm gonna go back to this real quick and I'll get up off here and I'll let y'all enjoy the rest of y'all day. All right. Boom. Go here. Enlarging it. You know, I always have to promote what we got going on. Please go to Kofi Piesie TV. That is www.KofiPiesieTV.com and get some of our publications. Spirits of the Mossi, Historical Survey of the Minds of African Warriors Scholars, Volume 1. If you don't have it, it is available on KofiPiesieTV.com. From Spirits to Pen, Historical Survey of the Minds of African Warriors Scholars, Volume 2. One Night Before Bed, a children's book by Njie Sean Calfunny, who is a member of Kofi Piesie research team and Mossi Warrior Clan, which is also published under both imprints. My children's book, Kalawa's Trip to the Motherland and African Education in Music, is also published up under our imprint Kofi Piesie research team and Mossi Warrior Clan YouTube channel. As I learn, we all learn. One of my other publications is also available on Kofi Piesie research team, From Cocaine to Consciousness by Njie Sean Calfunny, is also available on that website as well, KofiPiesieTV.com. And our latest publication, which came out a few weeks ago, Spiritual Comeback, a historical survey in the minds of African warrior scholars, Volume 3. Go pick up that good piece of work. It's thicker than the rest of the books, pretty thick book. We got it on Kofi Piesie TV. You can get it cheaper on Kofi Piesie TV. You can get it, I think, about, like I say, $5. Well, I'm gonna say a $9 or $10. I'm gonna say $10 cheaper because you go on Amazon. Amazon gonna charge you shipping and they're gonna charge you sales tax. So just from where you are, shipping may possibly be $8. Sale tax may be possibly $2 to $3. So you're looking at $13 right there. Then, $13 right there. Plus the book is $29, I think, on Amazon.com. So you're looking at, you saving about $11 if you go to, I'll say you're saving $7 because we charge shipping and handling too, but we don't charge $8 plus a 230 link. Okay, I'm finna get rid. Okay, Sean, but I'm finna get ready to jump up off here anyway. But you're saving some money, so go to that place. Go to there and cop some of these publications. You won't be let down with these publications that we have out. So please go and support us by going to KofiPiesieTV.com and purchase some of these books. Like Sean said, y'all done got these gift cards, these Christmas gift cards and money. Like I say, we're not getting rich off these things. We don't ask for nobody. We don't ask for donations. We don't have a GoFundMe page. These are things that we are doing out of our pocket. So, when you purchasing these books, it's an equal exchange. You purchasing these books, we getting the money, y'all getting the books. It's an equal exchange, and it is in-depth information on many topics. Also available now on Amazon.com, Killmonger Corner, The Conscious Community Pan-African Journal, Volume 2. This is Ben's publication, his journal that he put out, which was released on the same day as our book, Spiritual Comeback, a Historical Survey in the Minds of African Warriors, Volume 3. It is available on Amazon.com. And I think that he's going to have some, they may have already came in. I'm not sure, but I know he also going to be selling those himself as well. So contact Brother Ben if you want Volume 2 of the Killmongers Corner, The Conscious Community Pan-African Journal. It is available on Amazon.com now. Like I said, Ben should have his shipment in where he's actually going to be selling those himself as well. So contact Brother Ben. You always want to try to get the publication from the author if the author is selling his own intellectual property. So please patronize the author. Also go to our online store, www.familyconnectapparel.com, or you can go to Google, search and type MBOKA Family Connected Apparel, and the website will pop up. Click the website and go in and get you some of those clothing. I got up here a few things. There's some shirts, and again, it's just not a t-shirt. It is a clothing line. We have varieties of all types of things: pants, jackets, windbreakers, sweatpants, socks, hoodies, bucket caps, fitted caps, snapback caps, phone cases, masks. You know what I'm saying? Man, what the heck is this up here? Council. I don't know why it's asking me for that, but these are a few of the shirts that we got on here from the brands. Mossi Warrior Clan, go get you a shirt. The Mboka brand, go get you a shirt or pants, a hat, a jacket, socks, skull cap, hoodie, long sleeve, short sleeve, V-necks. We got them on. I don't know why this keep popping up here. Call history, hub helper wants you to use. No. The Kofi Piesie Research brand shirts, and we also have the Niger Valley Civilization t-shirts up now. We got the Niger Valley Civilization caps, skull caps, hoodies, sweatpants, and a few other things on that. But we have a variety of different things. We also have some other stuff on there. We have our Thomas Sakara shirts up there. We have our show authors perspective shirts. We have the other show Warrior Scholars shirts up there. And we have a new thing that I'll be throwing up today, which the show for tomorrow will be named after. So tune in tomorrow for the show. And tomorrow's show, I won't be gloating. I'm not gonna be bragging. Man, let me get out of here. I don't know why it's asking me to do this, all this. I won't be bragging, won't be boasting about what we're doing, but I will be showing you why I say that Kofi Piesie research team, Mossi Warrior Clan made, let me share my screen, made history. I got receipts to bag up what I'm saying. So tune in tomorrow to why this thing won't let me. Can y'all still see me?
No, you got your avatar up on there.
For some reason it won't. Okay, hold on.
You're talking about for the video, right?
Right. I'm saying for me, I can't even get back to hold on, let me see what let me do this. It won't even let me. All right. Hold on, let me see. It won't even let me. It's asking for something on my end, some kind of key thing, man. It won't even let me. Y'all may have to end. But y'all gonna have to end the show for me. I can't even come back. It won't even let me exit out. It's asking me